Good evening, afternoon, morning, whenever you guys are listening to this. Welcome to the first podcast about the Eastern Esports Conference. My name is Cameron Secure Hades, and I have a bunch of lovely guests here with me today. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hello, I am Philip Sexter Henderson, and I will be a guest on the show.
And my name is Freddie Sizzle Kid Wooden, and I'm just here booing.
So before we get into the show, let's just talk about where we're from. So I'm a VCU student. I am mostly a caster. I play a little bit of League of Legends. I play a little bit of Overwatch. Play pretty much all games. But mainly I enjoy casting. I've casted Hearthstone for the CSL. I've casted League just for my college stuff. I've casted some League for the EEC. I've casted the second week matches. What about you guys?
I go to Virginia Tech. Mm-hmm. I am a analyst for different games. I do league analyzing mostly now. I do pro games as well as just normal games. I play Hearthstone and League. I'm also a console scrub, so I play a bunch of console games.
Oh, well, you're just out of here now, sorry.
I did Call of Duty analyzing before.
Oh, you're definitely out of here now.
League. So... yeah, but no. I primarily play computer games now, and I play RPGs on console still, though. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, Call of Duty is actually pretty intense. I've been watching some of the FaZe Clan montages. These guys are kind of monsters.
No, dude, I remember when I was 12 and watched those montages too.
Yeah.
No, I'm just calling you guys chain. But what about you?
My name's Freddie. I went to Virginia Tech last semester, but I'm taking some time off. But I was part of the Esports club there that's actually fielding their team and whatnot. I know a lot of the guys there, and basically I was vice president for 2 years running in the club. So I don't know, I helped field a lot of the teams, and I'm still a pretty instrumental part of what they do. Well, not really. I'm not insider, but
they're nothing without you. They're nothing without you.
Not saying that necessarily, but I want to think that. But no, they have some good leadership there. But I helped keep the club together, and I helped organize stuff. So I'm still really close with a lot of the guys. So yeah.
All I'm hearing is I'm surrounded by Virginia Tech guys here, so I gotta watch what I'm saying. No,
that's cool. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. All right, so. As I said, this podcast here is all about talking about the Eastern Esports Conference that West Virginia University has started up. We're 2 weeks in now, and I'm expecting this podcast to go bi-weekly, cover the last 2 weeks, and then talk about the week upcoming. So we will just jump into the first 2 weeks of standings. So currently we are seeing that it's actually pretty even. We have one team that's really winning. We have one team that's really losing, and then everyone else has a tied record. So we have Cincinnati sitting at a 2-0 record, Kentucky sitting at a 0-2 record, and the other schools. And I will name these by memory. You guys get on me if I can't.
Yeah,
so it's University of Louisville, Towson University, Virginia Commonwealth University, who didn't play last week, so they're actually 1-0. Virginia Tech. West Virginia University. Okay, I'm starting. Kentucky. I already mentioned them. No.
Yeah, you're saying Kentucky.
So I have 7. I need 2 more. What am I missing?
Yeah.
Marshall University.
And I think, do you say Townsend?
I said Towson.
You said Townsend. It's UTK.
Yeah,
I said Kentucky.
University of Tennessee Knoxville.
Oh, yeah, Tennessee Knoxville. Oh, yeah. Okay.
And Townsend's also they're 0-1. They didn't play last week either.
They didn't play. Oh, so it's 2 buys every week?
Yeah. Well, I guess so. I don't know what happened with that one, but...
Oh, no, they didn't play the first week.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't... There's a buy every week, so they didn't play the first week, and then VCU didn't play the second week.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So let's go. So let's talk about... I guess we can start talking about the leaders right now. Cincinnati. So I personally casted a game, and And I got the interview with some of the guys, and they have a very strong lineup. So
yeah, they do. I watched their first game against Virginia Tech. It was one of the first games out there.
It was casted the first week, I believe, correct?
Yeah. So, like, I don't know. I know a lot of the guys on the Virginia Tech team, and I was like, oh, man, this squad we put together was pretty good. And I was like, man, like, no one can really beat these guys. And, like, Cincinnati comes in, just fucking clean houses them. I was like,
Well, to say that Tech did take them 2-1, so...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is very true. But, like, Cincinnati's jungle, was it
Japanese import?
From Japan? Yeah, that guy's really good.
Well, he's a Masters player, so...
Yeah.
Like, especially when you have, like, a jungler who's Masters, like, comparing him to, like, usually... Like, what, the average in this league is usually, like, D4, D5... like, 5 to 3.
Yeah.
So, like, the, like, skill gap there is immense, especially in jungling, where, like, pathing is, a very big thing to know.
Yeah. Watching that game, it was impressive how quickly he analyzed the other enemy jungler's path and reacted and, like, took advantage of that path super quickly.
Oh, for sure.
I was surprised by it and like, wow, that's and I think that just put them ahead so far.
Well, and
that.
But that's the thing, though, is that yes, they have this like really good jungler who can path really well, but like all their lanes are pretty strong too. Their weakest is the D5 with the K-Man as a beast, but even then, like, so funny story. The guys were telling me, I think in the interview, or I was talking with one of the players, and he, like, just randomly in one of the scrims accidentally locked in Echo and never played it before. And then he's, like, absolutely destroyed with it on a scrim. So, like, yeah, we just kind of let him do what he wants now. So he brought the Echo out last week against... Who did they verse last week? They versed... Go to the standings here real quick.
They versed West Virginia.
Yeah, West Virginia. Yeah, he brought the Echo. Like, after seeing West Virginia's Echo, he brought it out against them and, like, destroyed with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. And then, like, talking about Cincinnati, is their bot lane has so much confidence. Apparently, they have been playing together for 9 months, I believe, is what Pizza told me. By the way, when players have names like Pizzas, it makes it very awkward for us casters to say things. But no.
Wait, so I have a question. Do you guys know any like thing prior about this like team? Like, did they like compete together in like CSL last year or anything like that?
So, I know, like, at least that'd probably be better for Zex to answer, because VCU, we've kind of been, we haven't had the most structure to our esports team, and, like, anything CSL related or whatnot was kind of, like, not really well done, so I actually can't answer that.
Yeah. I don't actually know which teams were in CSL last year.
Oh, I know Virginia Tech did CSL, because I was on that team.
Virginia Tech did some CSL stuff, but it wasn't like...
Division 2, but it wasn't like Division 1, because Division 1 was like too much.
I don't know of anybody that's in the bracket now that did Division 1 CSL last year. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they did Division 2 or anything else, but I can...
Well, how does how do the divisions in CSL work?
So basically...
Is it like normal sports where like how big your school is?
Yeah, well, not really. It's like you can sign up for stuff. Like D1 is like the people who are like trying to like basically they work with like ULaw, and those are people who are like borderline pro, but they decided to go to school instead. Okay. And D2 is more like people like that want to be competitive, but at the same time they want to have a life and they want to graduate college because they're trying to get out of college, you know. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's very competitive, but at the same time it's not to the scale that you would see like the D1 players. Like D1 is like masters and not.
Yeah. So like D1 is basically like the pro players who decided to go to school, and D2 is the people who decided to go to school but are good at video games.
Yeah, for sure. It's basically like it's like challenger, and like it's basically D1 is basically like challenger players who don't want to be challenger but at the same time want like scholarship money. So that's what they're.
So, but I'm just going to say that like again, we talked about how earlier most of these ranked teams average about D4, I would say. So it looks like most of them probably played in Division 2 CSL, I would guess.
Also, like D1 is like you put as much time into it as you would like an actual sport.
Well, obviously you need to put that much time into it.
Yeah.
I mean, I caught the.
But like it just takes up a ton of time and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
I was saying that this is a little bit off topic, but over the summer I did see the CSL tournament that happened in China, where I think it was like Toronto and another school from NA that got flown out to China for this big like collegiate tournament. And I was like, oh damn, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So obviously they need to be putting time out if they're going to get flown out to China to compete.
No.
Yeah, but the thing about Toronto is that those guys like actually almost made Challenger too. Like the Challenger series, they were actually in like the bracket for it, and then I forget who they lost to, but it was just ridiculous. Those guys were like super good. I don't know who exactly was on that squad, but I remember seeing something about them. Like I think they beat like CLG Black in the Challenger series, and then to see that they were a top CSL team, it was like no surprise to me.
But anyway, that's enough about CSL because we are talking about the conference here.
Yeah.
So I think we talked a little bit of like pretty much a lot about Cincinnati so far. Let's go over to the next schools. Anyone that you guys particularly want to talk about that's not Tech?
I guess I could mention UTK. Because UTK, I casted that with Ryan, and it was actually really like UTK's bot lane is ridiculous. And the thing is, they're relying a lot on protect the ADC comps. Because like basically like the first game they went like Lulu, Lulu Twitch, and basically they were just healing for him, and then like he was just going to town on Townsend. And the thing is, Townsend kept the first game close, but the second game they got destroyed, and it was just cool. Yeah.
1 second, I actually want to just go look at. So I guess it's good to note that in the week 2, all the games were 2-0s, so all stomps. Honestly, I want to see, X Mains was a Twitch, and I see this game now with the Lulu going 8-4-12 on that Twitch. Whew. Again, but like we're in that kind of meta with the Ardent Sensor meta where protected ADC is a very like a viable strategy, especially when like you kind of have a high contention of like Kog'Maw, Tristana, and then like you have Twitch and Xayah in there as well. I mean, we even see Jinx come out for like long range like hyper carries.
Yeah. There's been a surprising amount of Ashes that have come out, just like in the protect the 80 carry comp or comps that they have, and they have Ashe as a 80 carry that they're going to protect. And I just was surprised by the amount of teams that opted for that or were thinking about it, at least in their drafts.
Well, and that's a fun thing is looking at that data. Ashe didn't get a win. She only got picked up this last week, and she didn't get a single win. Got picked twice, and both games she lost. So Ashe is one of those more fickle ADCs. You know, she doesn't have any movement abilities. She relies on kiting with the slow. You have to be able to be good at landing the arrow to have like a lot of impact on her.
Yeah, but when that arrow does hit, it's game over.
I mean, if it travels enough distance, that's a 3-second stun. So
yeah, it really is.
So that's an easy way to engage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, even with Ashe, I'm surprised that teams pick Ashe over Varus, especially in the meta that you have now, because Varus can do more damage and has about as much CC as Ashe does.
Can he do more damage? I thought Ashe would Q, like with her Ranger's Focus proc, does more damage.
No, once you get I think you have a more diverse build path that you can go with Varus than you can do with Ashe most of the time.
Okay, I can see that.
And you have an extra ability instead of Hawkshot to do the extra damage with. That helps you out because that gives you a slow and Grievous Wounds as well.
Well, I think that is the reason though why Ashe does get picked up is the Hawkshot. It's because the thing about Varus Ultimate, Varus and Ashe Ultimate both do a very similar thing, like CC, long range engage, just engage from an ADC basically. But first off, Arrows is a global ultimate, so I mean, if you're really good, you can hit that top lane snipe. I mean, I always call my shot when I send it up there, but it never lands. But the Hawkshot is something that's like the unsung hero of the kit. Just being able to it's old clairvoyance.
Yeah, it really
just being able to find, especially like keeping track of the jungler, like keeping like you can send to red buff. If it's there, you're like, oh, he hasn't been as red buff yet. He's probably on his bot side jungle, or like it's not there, so he's been there recently. And just being able to keep track of where he's been is pretty useful.
Yeah, I was actually about to mention like Callista can do the same thing, but then I was like, okay, Callista's been picked as well. And again, this is like a meta where you have to have like ADCs that are really good with Art and Sensor. It's like a lot of just like Jhin has fallen out of the meta like crazy just because he can't attack speed. Like, he doesn't have the attack speed like the other ADCs do. It's actually kind of sad, but like at the same time, I think Callista, Ashe, like Varus, the ones you guys mentioned, are gonna probably be really strong. But like the strongest ADC of all, I think right now, like the top two, I think are Cosmo and Twitch for sure, and Tristana. Those three.
I think Xayah's definitely above Tristana now since they nerfed Tristana.
I forgot about that.
Xayah's definitely above her now.
Well, the only thing is that like Tristana can outrange Xayah. So like if it's like a 1v1 fight, the Tristana like if she plays it right can just outrange the Xayah. But in a team fight, especially with the Xayah build, it's like a Runeans. Oh my god, the amount of AoE damage she pumps out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Getting back on to
what ADCs did they touch last patch?
They just touched Tristana.
Just Tristana? Okay.
Yeah. But getting back to the
Tristana and close to,
getting back to the rosters, though. So, UTK pulling off good. I mean, I guess we can talk about our school, so I'll let you guys talk about tech for a bit.
Well, I can see that right here that the team rosters haven't been fully updated, but what the guys were telling me is that they have a new top laner that's coming through, and like they have this event called like Gobbler Fest. I guess it's like, I don't know if other schools have it. It's basically like your club like meeting, like it's basically like a huge place where like clubs can like show off what they do and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, we have like Sobo Fair, where we like it's like where like clubs can like show off and like try to recruit new members that come on for the new year.
Yeah. So like we have like ours is called Gobbler Fest, and the guys were telling me that they found like a top laner who's like masters that is gonna do. Yeah, so they're like trying to incorporate him into the team. I don't know. I don't want to give out too many details because like I don't know how they're gonna like put it all together. I don't want to be like ill-advised or anything like that. But like I do know there's some roster changes coming out with them.
Yeah.
So they could be stronger.
Anytime you do consider roster changes, though, you do have to think of the synergy that is going to change and how resources are going to be allocated with essentially a better top laner coming in, at least rank-wise.
Yeah.
So if that comes in, you want to give more resources that way, then how's that going to affect the rest of the team and a bunch of other small details like that. And so we just have to see how that'll play out in the next few weeks.
Yeah, and you never know. He could probably just, like, he could fill to another position that he's good at as well. Because I know for sure, like, one of the people on the team was a mid main for most of the season and got masters with mid, but now he's, like, playing a different position that he's not as strong at, but, like, at the same time, like, a lot of people are making, like, a lot of switches just to get into positions that they feel, like, could benefit from the team and stuff like that. So like I don't know, there's a lot of adjustment that could come with having a new.
Well, that's always could either be good or bad depending how well they can adjust.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Alright, well if you guys have nothing to add, I guess I can talk about VCU for a bit. So at least our program, we recently this past semester we decided that we wanted to take our competitive gaming more seriously. So we had like extensive tryouts for our League of Legends team. We actually have like coaching staff and whatnot. Not going to reveal the details on that, but we actually have like support structure. We stole some of Tech's players.
Yeah, your mid laner was our president last.
I know. Zach's a funny guy. He just he just had to return to VCU. I think he had like there's something like just going on in his personal life that he had to return back to VCU. So we didn't actually steal him. He's not one of our import slots.
No.
No one knew where he went. We were just like, oh, where's Zach? And then I saw him on here, and I was like, oh, I guess he went back to VCU. That's
other than that, our team's just D4, D5. Some of them have been playing for a while. I know our support player. He's actually tended to be my co-caster. He's very knowledgeable with the game. He's played a lot of mid. Plays a lot of support. Our jungler, he's very mechanically strong. He's so mechanically strong that he gets bored of the meta junglers sometimes. So he just picks like random stuff like Katarina jungler.
Yeah.
So
that sounds like shit.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, I get triggered every time I see it because he like pops off on it. And I'm just like, how does he do it? No. Yeah. The one problem with our team, I would say, is just like the ability to like just lose focus or not take it as seriously as we should.
Yeah.
But I'm not like integral. Like I don't get like the constant updates about the team, so I don't know how like the scrims are going or like how the coaches are working with them. So with the staff, it could probably get over their issues. But I've like known those guys for like a year now, so that has been their issue in the past is just like not taking it as seriously as they could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, I could actually talk about the interview I had with UTK as well.
Oh.
Yeah. So we had after the game, we talked to Names, I believe, and Names was telling us how this team has gotten together like the beginning of the summer and it's basically been playing together ever since. And then their main leader is Bokanism. And Bokanism is like...
You're cutting out there, buddy.
It's like...
Am I the one cutting out or is he cutting out?
He's cutting out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
just like talking and whatnot.
Yo, Sizzle, you might need to restart what you said because you just cut out for a good like 15 seconds.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. It started with Brokenism and...
Oh, Bokanism.
Yeah.
Or like the... Yeah, so their support basically like controls like most of their macro game and basically like is basically their main shot caller. Mm-hmm. So like I know for that team they look really good with him in charge with basically controlling like what they do in terms of late game.
So they're the COG of the league, basically. They have this really strong support player who makes all the shot calls.
Yeah, for sure. And he was like, basically, Maines was telling them that like they basically got together at the beginning of summer and started playing together, and then like they basically play around whatever that guy says, and that guy seems to really know his stuff because they look really good there versus Townsend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually want to talk a little bit about Marshall because going into this, I think they were the lowest ELO-wise. I think they said their average was Plat 1. So obviously, I think a lot of people kind of slept on them a little bit. Like, oh,
the game.
Yeah, they well, that's what I want to talk about. Is so they went. So we VCU versed them the first week, and we went 2-0. But it wasn't like for the skill difference. I mean, again, we're like D4, D3, and if their average is Plat 1, like they put up a really good fight. And I mean, obviously, like I'm a little biased, so I was like, oh yeah, we're playing sloppy. But then they beat Kentucky this week, so up there 1-1 with the rest of us. So this team has something going for it. I mean, we haven't been able to see any of their games yet, I believe, so I can't comment on how their strategy works. Do you guys know anything about Marshall?
I do not. I mean, like, I just think that just by looking at how their playstyles go, I just think that they found a group of 5 people that just have a cohesive playstyle that works together consistently. And from that, they don't have to cater to do something out of their norm from how they normally play, and so their synergy was just naturally good. And how their team worked together.
So they're basically making up for the like skill gap they have by having really good synergy between each other.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say for a fact what that is, or if that's true, but that was just kind of my guess from what champions they play.
I was talking about this in my cast on last Monday. Is that a bit like when you have college tournaments like this? You have a lot of interesting things that you don't get to see in the LCS. Like you get to see more variety in the champion pool. I mean, I've been taking data on the champions, and we so far have had 57 unique champions played through these past 2 weeks, and only 18 games. So that's a lot of variety in just such few games. So that's the first one, and then the second one is you see like a lot more like stomping going around because you have such a different you have such a difference of skill going on. So how you're going to get around that difference of skill is making up with it with team synergy. Because at first, a lot of these teams are either new or just formed because you have new people coming in because of the new school year, or people have left and they have to fill it with maybe worse players or the new players, etc. So the teams that can synergize better and actually get rotating, start doing macro plays better are the ones that are going to be able to get to the higher seeds when playoffs come around.
Yeah. So playoffs for these players. Okay, so overall, how many weeks of gameplay do we have?
There's 9 weeks.
9 weeks of gameplay. So that's going to be 9 hard-hitting weeks of gameplay. I wonder.
It's 9 weeks. Every team plays 8 times.
Okay.
Because every team gets a bye.
Yeah.
So out of all these teams, who do you guys think is going to come on top?
That's really hard to say because.
Are we saying what's going to be their standing going into playoffs?
Yeah, who do you guys think will get first seed, et cetera, et cetera? We can definitely make early 2-week predictions right now.
Okay. I wouldn't put my money on these predictions though. It is very early on in the season.
Yeah,
I would.
But that's what makes it exciting.
So, at the state that the teams are in right now, I would say Cincinnati's. If the teams stay consistent as they are now, Cincinnati, I would say, is probably going to be our 1 seed.
Probably, I'd agree with that.
I think realistically they're probably going to drop one or 2 matches, just for somebody's having a bad day or something like that.
Having a bad day, people pick up on their strategies. Maybe they have to sub in a player 1 week and they don't have their starting roster.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I want to say
my problem with it right now is that all the team as I said earlier, right now it's all we know is Cincinnati's leading the pack and then everyone else is dead even but Kentucky. And it's just so hard to mention it. Maybe after this week I could make because right now I feel if I make predictions I'm just spitballing it.
Yeah. I would say Townsend, in my opinion, is probably not going to make it because they don't have the. I think they lack some mechanical skill as well as they need to improve their team synergy, and I think if they do those, they can compete for a playoff seed. But without improvements in that area, I don't think they'll be able to make it playoffs. I think we have at least 3 teams that are going to be fighting for. The second, third, fourth, 3 to 4 teams that are going to be fighting for those spots. Saying that, I think Townsend is probably one of our weaker macro teams. University of Tennessee Knoxville beat them. So I kind of say that win is less impactful than the other wins because they beat, in my mind, a lower seeded team.
I think something to throw in about Townsend is that their draft needs a little bit of work too, because I could just tell from watching UTK, there was this time where basically they picked the Twitch early, right? And then you would think that Townsend would be okay, man, well, there's a Twitch, we can get some stuff to counter him, Braum or something like that, just to kind of make sure that his damage doesn't come in as heavy as it could. And then they let the Braum pass him by, and they prioritize I think Jarvan and Gragas, which is fine, but that third pick should have been a Braum or something like that.
Well, I don't know.
Then
I don't think
they let it go. I mean, against the Twitch, I think that's a really good pick because I think instead they went with I forget what support they went with, but it was just
I'm looking at it right now. They went with Morgana, which I can agree doesn't make a lot of sense. I do think that the Jarvan Gragas isn't that bad, because I play a lot of Twitch too, and the big thing about Twitch is that he has no escape tools outside his flash. So when you have something like Jarvan, if the Jarvan's focusing right, the Twitch should be getting ulted every time he pops out. So looking at UTK's lineup, the only other threat they had was the Fizz, which doesn't need to get ulted by the Jarvan because he's just going to be able to jump out. So I feel again, I didn't get to see the game, but looking at this, had they been focusing properly and been able to use this like dive from the Gragas and like because they had Corky Patches, they have the Kog'Maw that can outrange the Twitch, they have Jarvan jumping on him.
As I was watching the game a lot, there would be like times where basically like J4 would ult and then Gragas would like explosive cast like next, and then like he would just like it would disperse their whole entire team, but then they had like nothing after that, and then Morgana was doing what she could, but like the Kog'Maw got caught out so many times by the Twitch, and it was just like small like things like that. But again, like in that like again, I would totally take Braum over like Morgana just because that E can like prevent a lot of that rat-a-tat damage coming in. And that was the biggest killer for them because like Jarvan would ult, right, and then he'd get some of his teammates in there, right? Twitch would flash out, have a Lulu ult on him, and basically they would just be like destroying him, right? And
see,
then, like,
that sounds like it's more of a mechanics problem from Townsend's issue. Like Jarvan catching his own teammates and not dropping the barrier and not properly focusing the Twitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, then again, there is a small like draft issue in there too.
Yeah.
But I think like in the draft issue, I mean, I think Townsend's first two picks, Jarvan, Gragas, they're super strong picks right now, and so I think that's good. And then for their third pick, their ADC pool is not very big, and I think that's one of the problems. So they wanted to pick one that ADCs that he was comfortable on, so that they can actually play well in the ADC meta. And so they could, so Tennessee Knoxville couldn't ban out the ADCs that he was comfortable on. So they pick an ADC as their third pick, and then Tennessee Knoxville bans Braum and Rakan, which pretty much stops most meta backline access that you want to have in the meta right now. And so I think Tennessee Knoxville did a good job with their second round of bans to allow their team comp to thrive better and not give Townsend an easy win condition with their support pick.
Yeah, and it's the small things like that that kind of put that game on its head. But like the second game, they do take the Braum, and it was like it wasn't impressive. I mean, just because like Mains and Bokanism they just played so much better than them. Like Tristana 12-1 just popped the fuck off. Like in the interview, I was calling him young double lift and shit like that. Like, he just destroyed them. It was ridiculous to watch.
And that's just again some like an aspect of this league where like yes, like the Braum's up, but they might just not be comfortable on it. So like we don't know if like maybe the Morgana was a comfort pick or something like that. Because I would honestly, in that kind of comp, I would have gone with Tahm Kench to protect your Kog'Maw.
Oh yeah, that's another one too.
Yeah.
Like if he's in a bad position, like as you said, especially if, as you said, like how the Kog'Maw kept getting caught out, just Tahm Kench, eat him up, run him away, set that bad boy back up in the back line.
Basically, they needed more anti-fun, not enough anti-fun.
Yeah, not enough anti-fun. That's League of Legends right now. Ardent Sunset, anti-fun. Knight's Vow, anti-fun. Gargoyle Stormplate, anti-fun.
And like talking about just like having fun, I think part of the game is like some people would rather have fun in a game than win the game at this point in time.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, who wants to play Tahm Kench as a support most of the time? I know I don't enjoy playing Tahm Kench a lot of the time unless I'm trying to be a troll. But
dude, you gotta unbench the Kench. Come on now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Tahm Kench just gives me goosebumps. I don't know, just looking at him.
No, he's adorable. What are you talking about?
Nah, that nigga's ugly. But yeah.
But going on though, so yeah, it just seemed like more of a mechanic issue with Towson than draft. Like yeah, they could have drafted better, but it does sound like more they just played their comp wrong than the draft. Like I've seen games get completely lost in the draft, and especially when they got Jarvan, Gragas, who's some of the like strongest tanks in the meta currently. Like I think it sounds more like a mechanics issue in a team play issue than losing in the draft.
Yeah.
So who haven't we talked about yet? We haven't talked about Louisville. We talked a little bit about UTK. We haven't talked about Kentucky. We haven't talked about West Virginia University. And that's about it. So we
could talk about why Kentucky might be 0-2.
Yeah.
Right?
So yeah, Kentucky 0-2. They have a decent lineup, I heard. And D5 was their average, I think. Let me go see. What did they say their average was? Okay. Wait, is this their tags are UK, right?
Yeah.
They didn't put an average.
Oh.
And this is not the roster that is on our sheet. Health 100.
Yeah, it's not.
I guess they did say they're we're gonna roster. Okay, so yeah, let's see. Let me go through their series and see if they put it in here. Because I'm very interested because I thought they had like a decent lineup, but why did they? They're 0-2 currently. So who did they play? Did they just they didn't like? Did they play just like really good teams? So first,
according to this, they played
West Virginia and they played Marshall.
Yeah.
So West Virginia has a decent team. They're D3, I think. And then we talked about Marshall already. So, like, do we know anything about the Kentucky players?
No, I mean, I don't see their full roster here, so
Yeah, I can't find it.
They might be in the process of like switching around members and whatnot. Just, again, like I think you can keep on adding. I don't know if there's a deadline for.
Now we're currently so I think the hard like roster lock happens like towards the end when playoffs start to happen. But I do believe you're right. It seems like they are switching out players constantly.
Yeah.
So that's probably their issue right now. Is they're just like they don't have a consistent lineup, and that is going to hurt them because if you don't have a consistent lineup, you can't just build synergy between players. By the way, Zex, your cord is going against your shirt again. No problem. But yeah, like if you're constantly switching players out, you can't help it. And that's going to hurt your team performance. You pretty much are fielding a solo queue team at that point.
Yeah, and the thing is, like most of these rosters, you have to think about it. Like most of these rosters were done before, like I don't know, freshmen can come in and kind of get their like hands on like some of these esports things happening. It's like when you're discovering more clubs and discovering more of these people, you learn a little bit more about like, hey, this guy could be good for a team. Hey, this guy could be bad for a team. So people are like constantly adding everything. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, that also can help hurt the synergy when you have like freshmen trying out and like you're like, oh, like maybe you want him instead of our like top laner who's been with the team for like 2 years now or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that's like how teams look now is not going to be how they look in 2 to 3 weeks because all the freshmen are coming in. Even if you aren't changing your roster, you're getting more concrete in your synergy. And if you are, you'll have it set in 2 to 3 weeks roughly of who's going to be playing, or at least a squad that you're going to have practice with consistently. And once you get that, how teams are going to look is going to be completely different than how they look right now.
Oh yeah, I said that is that like these early games are like the wins you kind of want to have because these are the games where like you can take advantage of the fact that teams aren't as coordinated as they will be at the end of the 9 weeks, and especially going to playoffs. So these are like, if you are more coordinated than the other teams at this point, you're going to definitely benefit from it. Because again, some of these teams are just newly formed or like have been together for maybe like a month or two, so they don't have all their macro play worked out. They don't have all their like synergy and coordination like working like a well-oiled machine. So getting these early wins will definitely help their seeding later on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it benefits teams that have already have a solid basis. Teams that have played before together or played in the CSL. No, not CSL. You know what I'm saying there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just basically competitively together.
Yeah. But you have that because you even have a basis that you can like put in this tournament for the first 2 to 3 weeks until you figure out how you're going to move on from there. And some teams that even have new people coming in, like they're not going to play them right away until they get integrated into the team so that they can pick up an easier win than trying to throw somebody in to the mix earlier. And I feel like some teams that are scrambling to put together a team are part of it is just like one, they have to find a team to put together, and then they have to find times of practice and things like that. And with school schedules, it doesn't always work out.
Yeah.
That everybody's free to schedule schedule a practice or a scrim at the same time.
And that's the biggest thing with college esports is like you might have a lot of players who are really good at the game, but they just don't have the time to commit. Like, because especially in like big tournaments, you need to be committing 5 to 6 hours a week scrimming.
Yeah,
for sure.
And you don't have the same glory that like college athletes get unless your school has a varsity esports program.
Yeah.
Do any of
Not
these
a lot of
schools have a
schools
varsity
do.
esports program?
I believe no schools on the East have
I don't
a
think so.
varsity esports conference. I think only the West Coast has started giving. I think the Midwest has some. I know
Yeah,
some schools
the
in
Midwest.
Ohio.
Yeah, the only school I know that started talking about having one was like Penn State, but I mean that's not part of our conference, but that is on the East.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like,
No,
other than that,
Like you have like schools like Rutgers who like sort of like they're really big, but I don't think the school actually recognizes them as a varsity sport. But
Yeah, they
like
probably don't
then
give
the
a fuck
West
about
Coast, you have like Irvine, that like the biggest one that's got in it. I think some other UC schools have it.
RMU's on the East, right?
I think they're Midwest.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're Midwest. They're not on the East.
I think they're in Ohio. Maybe
Yeah,
I
let me
don't know.
check. Robert Morris, they're in Pennsylvania actually. So
Oh,
that
Pennsylvania.
counts.
So
Oh,
well, you know.
Because they were one of the first schools to do it.
mhm.
I got a lot of spam mail from them when I was applying to college.
Oh yeah, it's insane. I was like, this makes no sense.
Yeah,
Support
no.
you guys.
So I think the last one we haven't talked about are Louisville and West Virginia. You guys have any comments about these two?
I haven't watched enough of them to say anything, so I don't want to say anything.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that is the biggest detractor to like our current production value that we have is that we're only streaming 2 games a week. We have one. So some West Virginia got streamed this last week. So they do. So they played Cincinnati, and it seems like they do suffer from a little bit of like synergy issues. I like Cincinnati. Obviously, like going in Cincinnati, you have Japanese import who can path better. So their jungler did just get out jungled pretty much. They didn't make as good of calls either. Like I believe they caught import out bottom when he was trying to jungle, and then he ends up trading because I think I'm going to look this up. I'm pretty sure they went Warwick into his Rek'Sai, and they attack him 3v1, and he ends up killing the Warwick before they kill him.
Yeah.
So hang on, let's see. I'm going to try and get this.
Yeah. I think it's more like again like some of these teams that we don't know as much about. It's more like we just have to kind of wait until like some of them get like streamed and whatnot. Some more.
So yeah, the first game they played the second week it was. Oh yeah, I remember now. So again, this was the game I casted, and they just didn't play their comp right. So the first game of the second week series, they played Kled, Warwick, Orianna, Sivir, Rakan, and I don't know about you guys, but that screams dive to me. You have the Kled ultimate in and the Sivir ultimate in. Like you're just running at them, and they just never got to that point. Like the Kled loses top lane to Figor, goes 0-0-3 on Jarvan, by the way. So the true support main, and just never using that like early like Kled's like early abusability, like getting those early kills or whatever. Like the Warwick just never like if I recall correctly, he missed a lot of ults, and he also didn't ult soon enough.
Yeah.
And then the bot lane I believe they got a little bit of work done early on because obviously Sivir outpushes Twitch, but just never able to really get on because you had came out the beast on Echo, and then you had the Twitch in the back line, and they were just never able to get onto that Twitch.
Yeah. I don't remember, but early game did Kled give too much credit to import as his just like the proximity, because I feel like
well, if I recall correctly, the game I think import spent most of his time mid bottom.
yeah, I think he did too, but I think Kled gave too much credit that he could be top lane, even though he really never was.
Yeah,
and I think that like he didn't press the lead that he should have had.
Yeah, but the thing is like, if you're gonna do that, then play something more passive. I mean, you can play just Nasus at that point and just farm the entire game. But like, just if you're gonna play Kled, you have to like the whole point of playing Kled is to play aggressively. You ward up, make sure import's nowhere nearby. I mean, get some deep vision if you have to. If you're that scared of import coming top, and especially if you know that he like, it should be obvious that he's staying mid bottom. So.
Yeah. But I mean, that does sound like some hindsight bias. Like you never know when you're inside of the game what's happening.
Well, and like that. That's the biggest thing. Is like you can know how to play the game, but once you get in there, it's just like, well, I don't know how to play. What game am I playing?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. Like, there's been a lot of talk of just like in professional play. Like, I don't know if like just basically like a competitive like League of Legends period, like of the coaches actually being with the team during the game. But I think that would be number one, it'd be distracting for the players, and number two, I think it would just like take away from like what the players can actually do. Like I don't like the idea of that at all, because I remember I was listening to the dive and they were talking about that, and I was just like, that's just not anything I would ever want to ever see. Like,
well, so what the game would become at that point is like whose coach is better. Like it doesn't even matter, like because it's basically like, so if coaches are allowed to stay in a game, and we can talk a little bit more about this after we go over Louisville's roster, because I do want to try to get their format wrapped up, because we almost are an hour into this podcast already. So my little comment about this is it basically comes down to who has the better general, basically. So who has the better tactics and who can direct the players better. Like, already we know that the player's skill is very even. Like, you do have like some very standout players. I mean, Faker, oh my god. Like Bureau, Jensen, other players. I only watch NA, so.
Khan.
Yeah, Khan.
Yeah, Khan's a monster. I love him.
I can't wait for Worlds, dude.
And then you have always a Prey and Gorilla and.
Yeah, so like you have some standout names, but like to get like that, the difference of skill is usually like maybe like 1%. So the difference comes from the macro play and how the teams work together. But if you have just like one central figure there dedicated to making, like, because that's what the coach would do, is be the macro player.
Yeah, the coach would be the shot caller. So anybody that's on the team, like Aframu or Hai or Bjergsen, like part of their main quality is that they can shot call while still performing very well in game. And that aspect of the game would just go away. So you would literally just go to the challenger list and you would choose the top 5 people in the roles that you want, because if they're the best mechanically, then you win the game. Because they don't have to think about macro, they just have to listen to what the coach tells them to do and do it. And if you have better mechanics than the other team, then you win.
You're basically playing StarCraft at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not like the idea of that, because like I remember they were debating it a little bit, and I was just like, that's just so stupid. I forget what episode it was. But.
Yeah, we can maybe get into that a little bit later, but I do want to talk a little bit about Louisville, and then we go over next week's talk. So I don't think Louisville definitely hasn't been streamed yet. I believe, correct?
Yeah, and I think
that's correct.
So they won't get streamed until week 4.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
But so I want to see who they. So they're 1-1 right now. Who did they beat first week? Go to the. So Louisville. UTK.
Yeah.
They beat UTK and they lost to Tech.
Hey, let's go, baby.
So I don't know, because again, that just seems very middle of the pack to me. Tech maybe like on the like upper end of that scale. Maybe UTK's maybe like is like direct center, maybe a little bit lower. So not much you can say from the results there. I'm trying to see if I can find the. Yeah, there you go. So first week. Let's see. Now I'm trying to find. So there's the UTK games. They ran Talia, Yasuo, Gragas, Callista, Lulu, and then they actually ran a Kennen top.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Was it
interesting.
AD or AP?
AP.
It was an AP cannon, yeah. One thing, like, their top laner,
Oh wait, no, it wasn't a cannon top. It was a cannon mid.
Okay.
and that was a
Shen top.
Gen top, yeah. Where's the... Is it? I think, like, one problem that they have, is their top laner. He plays a lot of aggressive junglers. Oh, I was looking at the first game. That's why I was confused. They played Camille top the first game. He plays a lot of aggressive players top lane, and I think it's difficult for him to switch from his mentality from solo queue into competitive, and how he doesn't spend a lot of extra time in solo queue practicing a tank jungler that you'd want to play in the current meta in a actual organized team.
Well, the thing is, like, you can make work, especially with the, like, you have Fiora possibly coming back with her movement speed getting returned, and then Camille is still, like, a decent pick. Clud has been brought out sometimes. I mean, Khan's making it clear that, like, Jace can still be played, Jax can still be played.
Yeah, but, like, I think you can play it right, and I mean, you can make it work if you want to, but just how they had it work and how they actually implemented that into the game, I don't think they did that. I don't think if they want to have a carry top laner, they need to dedicate more resources to that top lane and draft other lanes so that they don't have to worry about them as much. And I think that they weren't set in what their game plan was going to be before the game started, so that when they actually got into the game, they didn't have a concrete foundation of what they were going to do throughout the game. And so that was a stumbling block in how they weren't able to take advantage of their strong points.
I'm looking at this game 2 here against Tech, and, like, they drafted a completely AD comp team, and I'm just seeing the Gargoyle Stoneplate, the Righteous Glory, look like Thornmail coming out on the Cho'Gath, and just so much armor stacking. It's like, even if you win the late game, early game, you don't really scale that well into the late game.
Yeah, so it might be another draft problem.
Yeah.
Well, it just sounds like they kind of have they have this, like, really aggressive top laner that they just need to put, like, let him play, like, like, instead of playing bot side, they might just want to start looking top side and play around him, like, get him to that point, like, get him to a point where he can just be split pushing, like, run like either a 1-3-1 or a 1-4 comp, and, like, get him split pushing, like, let him, like, do his thing, like, but give him those early resources so he get to that point, and then start working on the rest of the side of the map instead of, like, not doing that, as you were saying earlier, Zext.
Yeah, and I think, like, one of the problems is they drafted their bot lane, they drafted losing lanes. Well, first game, you can argue that it was kind of an even lane because it was Kalista, Janna versus Kog'Maw, Lulu, which can go even. I mean, Kalista has a little bit of early push on that, but then you have the junglers interaction there. But second game, they definitely had a losing, or they didn't have the push bot lane. And I think if you want to do a top focus, you have to choose a bot lane that can at least have pushing pressure or at least go even in the lane.
Yeah, like, they could have done, like, a Xayah or some. Well, again, we don't know the ban, so it could have been banned, but, like, they could have done Xayah, they could have gone. They could have picked the Kog'Maw themselves. Well, no, Kog'Maw wouldn't have worked there.
They could have even gone, like, a Caitlyn lane.
Yeah, just bully them out.
Yeah.
And even then, like, the Caitlyn really helps with that, like, top-centered, like, game plan where, like, the traps prevent people from making plays on you. While the top lane just split pushes. But I'm actually surprised that, like, with their top lane playing, like, aggressive style, we don't see, like, him playing Jax at all, who's kind of, like, the most popular, I would say, especially with Camille and Fiora falling out. Split pusher. I'm trying to think that I don't think there's any other like, brawler that is more popular right now. No.
What, more popular on the top lane?
Then yeah, like a split pusher. Jax is definitely the most popular one right now, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like
Jax.
you have like
I
Jarvan.
wanna see- Yeah.
Like Jarvan can, but he tends to play around his team more than he's just split pushes.
I haven't seen enough Trundle. Like, I don't know. I feel like Trundle's really good at split pushing and has a lot of really good dueling potential. But like a lot of people, I don't know why. I personally don't know why a lot of people aren't like picking
It's
him
just
up.
Trundle can kind of be kited pretty easily if you're like.
Oh yeah, he doesn't like.
Other
the
than
thing
his
is-
movement speed from his W
Yeah.
and the pillar, he doesn't have much.
And Trundle is
Okay.
definitely more of a counter pick to a tank. So like if they
Yeah.
choose a Maokai or some
Cho'Gath.
Cho'Gath is dependent, but like Maokai is just like a straight tank top laner that will just build armor. You choose Trundle because they can't do anything to you. You just ignore them and take towers.
Yeah.
And then if they come, you can get away because Trundle actually has good escape power, especially in the current meta because there's not a lot of catch potential. And how they do it's more about focused about controlling map objectives or turret pressures, things like that.
hmm
But yeah,
And especially like using the pillar correctly, he can just block
Yeah.
someone off.
Yeah, I play a lot of Trundle, and I personally think that like he's a pretty good top laner that needs to be like recognized more. But like I mean, again, like the way you guys like put it that way, it makes a lot of sense why he's not as popular as like a Jax or something like that.
and also like it's just champion comfort. Like I don't know how many games he's put on Trundle. I don't know if he has more than like 20 games on Trundle this season even. And Jax, I'm looking at his OP. I don't think he's played many games Jax recently or even at all. So I don't think he's comfortable on the Jax split push. He plays a bunch of Yasuo and Talon top lane is what it looks like.
hmm
So unless you really want to focus top, then you can't really choose those into even a Jarvan or something like that because you can't engage on him without jungle help, and if he plays the lane right, he can just wait it out and then win the team fights.
Makes a lot of sense. Do we have any more words about Louisville, or do we want to just conclude talking about the standings?
I can't think of anything else right now.
Oh, seems like we covered a much. Again, pretty kind of hard to cover a lot, especially with a lot of these teams being new. We only have 2 weeks of data, not every game being broadcast. So obviously we'll be able to have a lot more to talk about. But we still went we're 57 minutes in, so we still went a good hour on this first part. So just going to talk a little bit about the next week matches. So I think you both have the standings up. So round 3 will be played tomorrow starting at 8:30. I will actually be casting one of the games. Common VCU versus Kentucky. The other games will be...
I think I'm supposed to be casting that one with you.
Oh, let's go, Freddie.
Yeah.
But so we have VCU versus Kentucky, Marshall versus Cincinnati, West Virginia versus University of Louisville, and Tech versus Towson. Do you guys want to do a little bit of predictions beforehand, or?
I'll run through them and tell you my predictions. So I'm gonna start with Virginia Tech versus Towson. I think Tech's gonna be able to win that one. It depends on how they do their rosters. I know they were talking about bringing in some freshmen or people that have just joined the team, so they might put somebody in. I don't know if they will. I think if they do, then it's up in the air as to how the team synergy is going to work and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Townsend's not looking great right now, and from the last week that they played, I think unless they've made big changes this week, that they're less favored to win that game, and Virginia Tech's going to win that one. West Virginia versus Louisville, I think is going to be a close game.
Yeah,
I have no idea who's going to win that one.
I think that's the closest game this next week.
Yeah, I think it just depends on who plays better that day, or who has better shot calling that day as to who wins. Because I think that they're both very capable of winning those games. But it just comes down to the mechanics and the macro.
Yeah, and who shows up, who's like has the game plan, research, like how much time they put into it, basically.
Yeah. The Marshall versus Cincinnati game, I'm actually really excited about. I kind of wish that was getting streamed and casted, that game, because Cincinnati, I think, has the best overall rating.
Yeah.
For that. And Marshall, with their import, I think that they can contest that because of the jungle pressure that they can put around the map.
Wait, Marshall got an import?
Am I thinking of the wrong team?
I don't know.
Nope, I am thinking of the wrong team. My bad. Well, I was thinking... Yeah, no, we're good. Never mind. I was thinking of a different team that I heard something about, but I don't know. Never mind.
I know Cincinnati had Japanese import, but...
Yeah, no, Cincinnati has an import, and I thought I heard... Yeah, but no. Never mind. Ignore that comment. Yeah, no, I think Cincinnati's going to crush that game. Then, my bad. I was heard...
Man, I was surprised that you were,
I totally misread that.
I was going to say it, but, from what I've seen from Marshall, yes, they've been putting up a lot more of a fight than we thought, but they're going to have to bring, some serious A-game to outpass Japanese import, the contested bot lane. Again, that's the thing with Cincinnati. It's just, all their lanes are so strong that, you have to have some kind of plan against them. And who knows? I mean, this is why predictions are predictions. They might show up and cause a huge upset. I mean, that would give us something to talk about next show.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And then for the VCU versus University of Kentucky, I'm looking forward to what VCU is going to bring, because they had a week off, so we didn't get to see what they played last week or how they did. So I'm looking forward to see what they did in their week off, and if they picked up any new people, or if they're going to try any new strategies or different team comps, things like that in this next week. I think I'm going to give VCU the upper hand in this one, and that I'm going to favor them to win this game. But it does depend on if they actually practiced during the week off, or that if they actually took a week off and didn't do too much. I think that'll depend on how much time they put in during their week off is what's going to be the outcome of the game. But I'm going to give it to VCU in that last one there.
Yeah, to talk a little bit about that, I have seen them scrimming, so in their scrim channel in our club Discord, so they have been doing some practice. How much they have been doing, I don't know. But I give it to VCU, because I go to VCU. Zex, I think your cord's going against your shirt again.
Oh.
Or something's going on.
Yeah.
That, but also, again, we talked about it, that Kentucky seems not to have their, a static roster yet. So, without that, VCU has had this roster for a good month now, and as I said, we have infrastructure, we have coaches and analysts working with them, so I at least hope that with all that, with all what's going on in the back scenes and how much we're getting prepared, that we could stand up against a non-static roster. But again, Kentucky might have had gotten their static roster set, they've gotten some good practice in, so again, could show up tomorrow. But I would say VCU this next one. And then Sizzle, we haven't heard from you. Anything you want to add to these predictions, or you agree with all of them?
Oh no, I just didn't want to interrupt anyone. Well, so for the first one, I think Virginia Tech will have it easily against Townsend. I don't see if they add that master top laner they're talking about. I don't see Bite 4-5-4 doing anything against him, because he had a lot of trouble against ETK's top laner last time, because he was down in CS quite a bit of the time, and he was I forget, but he was losing lane to a Shen at one point. It's just and he was somebody really he was Jarvan versus Shen, and then he was just I don't know, he just was not having a good time. Okay. And then University of Louisville versus West Virginia. I think West Virginia is just going to take that one, because Louisville seems like they're kind of under the radar.
Well, they're also under the radar because they haven't gotten any string coverage yet.
Yeah, that is very true, and they don't get it until later. So, yeah, I remember there was an actual Marshall player complaining about string coverage or whatever. I don't know. Yeah.
That's a issue that we can talk about later. I don't feel like getting into that. That's a touchy topic. It seems.
Yeah, it seemed I was like, yeah. I don't know if you guys know about that, but speaking of Marshall versus the University of Cincinnati, I think University of Cincinnati has that one pretty clean, pretty easily actually. But Marshall could I mean, the thing is, they play so well together for a team that's like not as high elos as you guys did mention. So anything could really happen in that one. University of Cincinnati is well put together, and VCU versus University of Kentucky. As much as I don't want to, I'm gonna have to give it to VCU, just because I just
better
feel
give it to us.
Yeah, I just feel like VCU is gonna clap them. Shit, I don't know. Like, I want to say, because the only player I really know on that team is the mid laner, and I know that he's a relatively strong player. So, yeah, that's really all I have to say about those. But, like, okay, we have, like, what, 2 teams on the bye right now? It's, like, UTK and US. So.
2 teams on a what?
No, there's just one team. One team has a bye per week.
Yeah, every team has
one
bye.
It's UTK.
Yeah, Tennessee Knoxville is not playing this week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, every team will get one bye as the thing goes on.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, this week is UTK. Next week it looks like WVU has their bye. Yeah.
No, University of West Virginia's playing.
Oh, yeah, West Virginia's playing. Who has their bye 4th week? Cincinnati's playing. Marshall has... Yeah, no, Marshall's playing. Wait, who's not playing then?
Kentucky.
Oh, Kentucky, there we go.
Kentucky's not playing,
Yeah.
So every team has a one bye.
Yeah. That's actually pretty good. Allows them to probably just get in some practice or whatnot.
Alright, so... But with that, I think that concludes us talking about the conference. We are only an hour in, so I do feel like we can go into a couple of topics I've prepared. So, I think we'll start with a fun one. So, everyone, I think we all have seen that Riot has gone to the land of the rising sun and given us an anime gameplay mode in the form of the Star Guardian Invasions.
Oh my gosh.
And I was wondering, how much have you guys played it? Because it's honestly one of their better, it's probably the best one they've done so far.
I saw somebody on Reddit talking about, they wish that, Riot would make an MMO or something like that, like an MMORPG, and I just cringed so hard. I personally do not like the game mode that much.
You really don't?
I liked it, the first 2 times. I was like, oh, man, this is pretty cool. I can get behind this and blah, blah, blah. But, with most of the modes, I kind of get bored of it, maybe, after playing it 3 times. I'm probably, an outlier here, but I really hate Earth.
Oh no, Earth's just for stupid fun.
I enjoyed Earth. I don't like AR Earth.
Oh yeah, well because the point of Earth is so you can have just a bunch of stupid fun. The problem with AR Earth is that you can just get completely destroyed by the random. The enemy team has Kassadin, TF, Kog'Maw, all this good stuff, and then you have I don't know, what's really bad in Earth? Nunu? No, Nunu's pretty good actually. Yeah, maybe Urgot, Janna.
Janna's bad. Just stuff like that. But and the thing about AR Earth that I dislike the most is they didn't permaban the champions that they banned in Earth. So that's just the most frustrating because you just go in and you try to get broken champions and
doesn't work.
Yeah. When you load in and you see a Karthus on the other team, you're just like, well, this game's over.
Yeah.
Can't do anything about that.
But going back to what Sizzle was saying earlier, the what it's called? Yeah, I do tend to find that most of the game modes do get boring after a while, but because again, we play League for Summer's Rift. It's not I honestly don't know. I know there are players that just play exclusively Twisted Tree Line by a Wade Zexture.
Oh my gosh. We're getting
No, but you have some people who do play exclusively Twisted Tree Line or exclusively ARAM, but majority of us, we're playing it because we want to play Conquest. We enjoy that aspect of League. So obviously we are going to get bored. I got bored of the game mode pretty fast too. But I can acknowledge that they put a lot of work into the Star Guardian.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That you have all these interactions. The map, the map is amazingly well done.
Yeah. Talking about Star Guardian, I really enjoy how much effort they put into it, and I think it holds promise for game modes that are to come. a few things that I didn't like about it was the RNG that's involved in it.
Oh yeah,
Because I've played a few of them where it feels like it's impossible to actually win, and then I've played a few games where it's like this isn't even hard, and it just breezed right through.
Well, like, so the RNG does play a lot of into it. So, like, for instance, like if you're just starting out and you get the one where you where you get all the Chogats and you don't have the items to shred through the Chogats, that one's like it takes like that one can either be like super hard to do or it just takes forever because you can't get through the Chogats. And then you have like the one where you're like in the park and you have like the 5 groups of 5 Vel'Kozes shooting across the map, and you have to go around the Vel'Koz.
Yeah. Those Vel'Kozes actually do make the game mode like 10 times more challenging.
Well, because again, like that becomes like it's incredibly micro intensive to be able to dodge them, and then like you have to position correctly according to your teammates. So if you do get hit, you don't hit your teammates as well.
Yeah.
But and then like RNG as well. Like the Vel'Kozes do more damage as the rounds go later. So if you do get all your Vel'Koz rounds like early on, they actually don't hurt that much. But like later on, they're like doing like 20% of your health every time you get hit.
Yeah, it's
delicious, dude. Straight delicious.
But it does like again like it reminds me like of the old like StarCraft 2 campaigns, like just microing a character like that, and then especially when you fight the Rift Herald at the end. Oh my god, that's so much fun. Like if I could just do the Rift Herald fight, I would do it because I think that's the best part of the mode.
For sure. I think my favorite game mode that they've come out with is like Nemesis draft though. So I really thought Nemesis draft was like, I just like the idea of just like, because like what would happen is this like you'd sit there, right, and then you're like, okay, what's the worst possible champion I can get this guy? So you're seeing like Urgots, and you're seeing like everybody would like give you like Alistar, so you're seeing like jungle Alistars and stuff, and the games would be super wacky, right?
Yeah.
And like I love that because it was just like, I don't know, you see some champions that you don't see on a normal basis, and you'd be like, oh man, maybe this guy could actually be good at something. And it's like, well, I see where his like inefficiencies lie, but at the same time, maybe I could pull this out in solo queue. It's like, I don't know.
Please don't.
Like they're basically giving like champions who get no love some love. So I thought it was really nice.
Yeah.
By the way, your cord again.
What?
Your cord again.
Is it still there?
Oh, it came for a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, but again, like the thing with Nemesis is it's very like I just call it. I wouldn't call like I know it has a negative connotation, but like low effort. Like it doesn't work hard much on Riot's end. It's just like a little programming to change how the matchmaking work. Whereas like Star Guardian, like it's like a complete new mode with maps, like new art for the the heroes because they have to reskin all the Vel'Kozes, the Chogats, the Rek'Sais, all that, and then like also the new interactions, like coding the Rift Herald to do like all his new moves, all that. So I like it's just like the Star Guardian mode just shows like as Zex was saying earlier the like potential for these new modes, like how much Riot can put into them.
Yeah.
Does anyone know how much time like Riot spent on making this mode?
I have no idea.
Because that would be an interesting thing. Like, how long have they been working on this mode? Like, has it only been like a couple months?
I know they work on skins more than the game though. Some of these skins coming out are just beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, they have like an amazing art department. Is the thing?
Yeah, the new Yi skin, like you can actually see his face, and it's just cosmetically just beautiful. It's just amazing. I've seen some of it on the PvE, like some people like displaying it on the PvE, and like I've seen like that new video on it. It's just it's a really well done.
I remember the old days when a champion came out and you used to get those like 2 like pretty much recolor skins.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The good old days.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Dude, back in the day, I felt like skins were like a rarity though. Like when I saw someone with a skin, I was like, "Oh my god, this guy's like the real deal." Like,
dude, that was my thing when I was because I've been playing League since like season 1, and like if I liked a champion, I was like, "Oh, I have to get a skin to show everyone that like I play this champion." But it's not like, "Oh, I was like picking it because I got nothing better to do."
I feel like all of that, like when you saw a skin, it was either like, "Oh, somebody gifted the skin," or like they actually got it for themselves. But since they introduced loot boxes and things like that, where you just pick up skins random and you're like, hey, I have extra stuff and I play this champion, I should get a skin, why not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Like
it's
once they introduce that, it's like, well, they
you have
have
like a skin for every, and well, it's also like a product of the game being what 8 years, 9 years old.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you just have people who have accumulated skins over the years, so like everyone pretty much has a skin for a single champion. That's
Yeah.
so. Do you guys have any more comments on Stargarden mode, or shall we tally forth?
I'm good. I'm good for the next question.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Star Guardian skins are really nice too.
Yeah.
I just wish they kind of put another tank within them because it's like okay, the only person you have is Poppy.
I just wish the ADCs were better. I wish Kog'Maw had it. Kog'Maw worked so well in that mode.
Gosh.
I don't know. MF and Ezreal are pretty nice, and Jinx too.
Well, Jinx is the best one because she can shred
Yeah.
the Cho'Gath's the best.
Jinx is so good.
Well, like I think my main problem with it is like the ADC is like you can't go like a crit build because you can only build 3 items.
Yeah, because
You don't get enough gold.
You don't get enough income for that.
Yeah, so like you're actually very like the best build for ADCs from what I heard is like Rage Blade, Wit's End, and Bork.
So yeah, you can go that. I've seen some people go Rage Blade, Black Cleaver into a Bork or a Wit's End from that, and so you just get like full attack speed and as much damage as you can pump out with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't been trying to play the mode too much because I'm trying to get into Diamond, and it's just taking me too long. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's tough. I don't know, but like, yeah, from what I see, whenever like somebody on their like the VT Discords like playing the game, they'll kind of like mention it or like talk about ways to play it and stuff like that. And like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Well, I think that's the best part of the mode though is that like it's literally like people are writing full strategy guides for how to beat it. Like it's just like giving the community like so much like something new to put energy into instead of like, oh, this is like the 157th guide on how to get from silver to gold.
Yeah, also another mode that they that kind of strategy came out with was Doombots. I remember Doombots.
Oh, Doombots. Yeah, that was
When that
cancerous.
first came out, I was like, holy shit, this is hard as fuck. And then people started playing with strategies, people were beating it. And then it seemed like people had already found like an algorithm for it, so it's like kind of like
Doombots is so fun, and I think it's probably one of the easiest game modes to beat if you have a team that's willing to do it.
Yeah, like you can't beat like level 100 on that without like a specific comp.
Yeah.
No, I mean, 'cause, like, so in Doombots, the way to win is you just don't kill the enemy. Because then they never back and get items.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny as shit. Okay.
And so they're like, so you just never kill them until the final boss arrives. And then you just throw everything you have. And just build straight to clear waves and kill the tank at the end.
Yeah.
Kill the Teemo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Teemo was pretty fucking scary.
Oh my gosh.
It's like
That's
any
nightmares.
Teemo. Anytime you see a Teemo in the
Any
game.
Teemo is scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, if you played
Yeah,
against
dude, I'm an ADC main. Any Teemo I see is scary.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
blind you to death.
He counters my entire champion pool.
And then you have those AP Teemos where you just hit a random shroom
Oh,
and
don't-
you go
don't-
from like you lose 70% of your health and you're like, well, time it back, guys.
And then you hit the second one on your way back. Oh god, we don't need to talk about Teemo nightmares.
No. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. So, talked enough about Stargarden and just modes in general. So, we are on patch 7.18 now. This is going to be World's patch. And I do know that a lot of people are upset that Art and Censor didn't get nerfed. Now, we can talk a little bit about the reasoning why, but what kind of changes do you guys think the item needs, and what would you like to see? So we do know that the Riot has said that the off-season changes are going to be really big, but excluding that, what kind of changes do you think need to happen to champions and items going forth after Worlds?
So I know a lot of people were saying that the life drain isn't the problem. No, sorry, the attack speed isn't the problem, but the life drain is. Yeah, so they did nerf the life drain to 20.
It's 25.
It's 25 per hit.
I think so.
Yeah, 25.
Oh, okay. I thought they nerfed, but before that it was higher. But at the same time, I don't know. I'm just kind of wondering where, because Ardent Center kind of always had this kind of hidden OP like kind of thing about it? Because it's been like that for a while, but like all of a sudden people started building it. Like I'm wondering how it's
Oh God.
Oh, you're cutting out.
Oh, sorry. I was wondering how like ardent sensors started to become so popular because like it always had like this kind of like hidden like OP kind of thing about it, but nobody was really doing anything with it until like recently. So I'm wondering who like did it in professional play or anything.
So I can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
If you want to, Hades, you can.
Well, I was gonna like my guess on it is that so Ardent Sensor's always given the same effect it has, but Riot has just like been buffing it to make the more like passive supports better because obviously you build it on like passive supports like Janna to make it better. It also kind of I believe it also came with the coin buffs as well because you also tend to build those on passive supports as well. So like it came like again coin right now gives you the most gold per 5. Well, not most gold per 5, but most gold income as a support because of the 40 gold coins that you get.
Yeah.
So that's like at least my guess, but Zex, you probably have more info on that.
Yeah. So at the beginning of season 7, when lethality was a big thing and they hadn't introduced all the new tank items yet, so you either you could run like a lethality champions, and then once that got nerfed, once lethality went out, because they came with all the new tank items and things like that, you went to a more support focused or more supporting role in that sort, and then right after that they nerfed support items like Redemption and Athene's, and they buffed Ardent Sensor a tiny bit back at the beginning of in 7.2. They buffed Ardent Sensor to attempt to have it come back in meta, but nobody was playing it at the time. And then they gave it another buff back. When did they actually buff it? I don't remember. It was a few patches ago when they buffed it again to be at the state it is now. And then they nerfed all of the other support items that you would buy, like Redemption, Athene's, things of that nature. They nerfed those as well as Locket a little bit, and so you wouldn't buy those on supports anymore, especially when they changed Locket to be scaling with health. So then Ardent Sensor became the big thing because everything else got nerfed and nobody touched Ardent Sensor because it was never used in the current meta as it was. And then it started getting used at the beginning of summer, and that's when Riot can't make big changes to the game anymore. And so since then, Riot wasn't able to... At the beginning of summer, Riot isn't able to change the meta pretty much. You have to keep that meta until Worlds.
Hot damn. So Riot fucked up.
I mean, this happens every year with something.
Well,
yeah, because I remember the Juggernaut patch. That was by far the worst thing ever. Like,
yeah.
Darius just dumping on everybody, dude.
Yeah, some years it's worse than others. Yeah. But once summer hits, you can make some changes to some items and other things like that, but you can't make big changes to the meta because that's when everybody starts practicing for Worlds pretty much.
The thing about it is that like it wasn't even like the Ardent Sensor meta didn't even come about like at the beginning of summer. It was like the middle of summer, which made it bad. Like at the beginning of summer, you can make some changes, but it went like the Ardent meta has only been around for what, a month now, probably.
Yeah.
So that's like midway into or like towards the end of the summer season.
What I'm starting to get annoyed by is that I see a lot of supports in like solo queue and stuff because I'm a support main, so I play a lot of support. And I see a lot of them just like straight rush Ardent Sensor. Like they'll get their first item maybe like the level 2 of it.
Oh, dude, that's what I do.
Yeah.
The thing is, I feel like you have to like still go with your standard like Sightstone and then Ardent Sensor because like Sightstone, it's just like such a crucial thing like to like the support kind of like mentality. You have to work. You have to get vision.
Yeah, but you have your 4 moving wards.
Yeah, but oh yeah. I mean, at the same time, I just feel like a lot of times when you're like in lane, right, your ADC expects you to like kind of like get some vision on the board for you, and et cetera, et cetera. So like junglers like Zac and stuff, like you only have 2 wards in your inventory or like the trinket. It's like junglers like Zac. It's like okay, you can only put it at like a certain place, and Zach has like a dynamic like thinking pattern, so you can't like get in those hard to reach places that he could like go out of nowhere and cheese you.
Yeah, but
like for something like solo queue, I feel like it's a little tough.
Yeah, it can be for solo queue, but the reason, like, especially in competitive, you don't see that need is because junglers you play right now are Gragas, Sejuani, Maokai, and as long as you stay safer in lane, you don't have to worry about getting ganked by them. And even if you do, especially if they come bot lane, you're going to have a TP, your jungler, and your mid laner all collapsing on bot lane at the same time. And so if you have an Ardent Sensor and just can survive long enough until the TP finishes and your mid laner can get there, then you have more damage because you have Ardent Sensor.
So are you saying it's more of a stalling kind of mechanism than anything else?
And I mean, you wouldn't build it first item if assassin junglers were in. If things like Grave or Graves or Kha'Zix or Assassin Elise was in there, you'd want the vision more, but since it's just tank junglers and scaling ADCs, there isn't enough damage bot lane to burst somebody out. And so you don't need to worry about that happening. The only thing you need to worry about is a 4 or 5 man collapse on bot lane. And you can see that as like just looking at the map and not having to have words out to see what everybody's doing.
Yeah, I guess I'm just a lot more stubborn about how I play my supports, because like at the same time I was even like I was talking to some people and I was like, yeah dude, I still like spell thieves on like Nami and stuff like that, and everybody's like, nah dude, coin is the way to go. I'm just like, I like to harass and do like tons of damage.
But the thing is, like, you still get more gold from coin even if you get like all 3 of your procs from spell thieves every time they come up.
Yeah. People were saying it's more efficient. I was like, so I guess I gotta start switching.
But you guys touched on it a little bit, but that's also something people have been complaining about is the jungle meta right now. How it's very hard to get a lead in the jungle because of how the catch-up experience works.
Yep.
So how, like, I'm not a jungler, so I always get very confused by the jungle changes. So how exactly, like, could Riot change that? Because they have to, because I've heard junglers complain about it constantly. So
the jungle is a delicate state because it gets impacted by so many other roles. I remember I'm a mid lane main, so I remember when they first introduced the Raptor change, and you, as a mid laner, you would go and steal the Raptors from either your camp or their camp, and you'd hit level 2 first. And then you'd take small Raptors every single time you could. And when that was a thing, if the enemy mid laner could take your jungler's Raptors, your jungler would be set behind the entire game, because there wasn't enough extra experience in the jungle to catch up for that.
Oh my god.
And like, I know some games I would be like 3 levels up just by taking like 2 or 3 Raptors every time Raptors spawned. And it was because the experience was so it was there for everybody, and so you have those problems. I think one thing they could do is they could lessen jungle experience for laners or people that don't have a jungle item.
So tie it to the jungle item.
What?
Just tie it to the jungle item. So like, if you like when you buy like, well, for instance, when you upgrade it to like your blue, green, or red smite, it's like, oh yeah, and you get X more percent XP from jungle camps or something like that.
Yeah, which can do that, but at the same time, a lot of people complain that you should be able to jungle without smite.
Well, even if you want to jungle without smite, because the thing is, you couldn't do like a machete, or you couldn't put the extra XP on machete or the talisman, because then you just have the problem of like, if it is very more efficient, that you just have laners building the item just to go into the jungle and get the XP from the jungle.
Yeah.
So you have to put it, like, you have to make a significant investment to get that XP. And the thing is, I actually can't think of a jungler that doesn't at least build their first smite first. I think maybe Hecarim will keep his single item because he wants to get the Trinity Force first, but even then I believe he still gets his like...
Doesn't Ivern not really have to build?
I mean, Ivern doesn't build into it, but Ivern's a very unique jungler that doesn't actually
need it. Like he just...
But a lot of junglers actually on their first back, they don't finish their jungle item. I'm thinking a lot of solo queue junglers like Elise, Graves, pretty much anybody that builds into warrior, unless they really want Red Smite to go and try to invade early, they get
the Caulfields.
Caulfields instead.
Oh yeah, because Caulfields is just more efficient.
Yeah, and so I mean, if you take that away, then you're forcing them to build into that jungle item, which I think is a step back for the game because you're restricting item builds.
And that's always been a problem with League, is item builds being very restricted and just not having like the kind of options like Dota 2 has, for example.
Dota 2.
Wait, by the way, if anyone wants to complain about item builds, just go look at Smite and just come back to me, by the way.
I've heard some bad things about Smite. I used to play Smite, not a lot, but like, I mean, I got annoyed by it just because of the it's just third person kind of just like, I just didn't like how it was just, I just didn't like the style of play of it, but
my thing is, I used to play Smite competitively, and I can give you an hour-long rant on why that game is the most aggravating thing in the world, and how I wish that Hi-Rez didn't own the IP, because if it's such a brilliant game, and Hi-Rez like turning into
Hi-Rez has fucked up a lot of games. Like, I don't know if you know about Paladins.
No, I keep up with Hi-Rez games.
Yeah. So Paladins, I think, is a pretty good game. Like, it's really good. It's a good free-to-play game. It's a good sub for Overwatch and everything like that. But they've had like so many bugs, and like, there's a lot of balancing issues. Like there's this one. Like, they have these burn cards, and there's this one thing called aggression that like basically new players would go on to, and it wasn't good. Like, there's a lot of things that Hi-Rez could do better as a company. But,
and like. They don't, well, like, the thing is they don't know how to market, and I know we're getting completely off topic, but you've touched topic close to my heart. But they don't know how to advertise, they don't know how to balance, they push esports, but they're not very, like, good at that, they don't hire the right people. They're very, like, casual company that trying to make these, like, big tournaments happen. List goes on and on.
They don't know what they're doing.
They ruined Tribes Ascend, and that game was a beautiful game.
Yeah.
And I'm still sad about that.
Yeah, but, like, going back to the idea of like itemization, like with League, I'll tell you that the itemization is very, very linear. Like, you know what you're gonna build most of the games. Like,
well, I mean, like, you talk about ADCs, you always have like at least 3 items that are core plus boots.
Oh yeah, so for sure.
You have like that's the thing. Like most ADCs, you have like 2 free slots, and it's like, oh, I'm either building Mercurial, Armor Pen, or
Guardians.
Yeah,
GA. And like, I mean, that's cool and all, but there's not a lot of like people where you go like, oh man, I really like need this item more than others. Like name one champion that's like been like, strong in meta recently that you need a Nash RS2 for. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you could say Azir or Diana, but both of them aren't like even close to in meta, and like Azir hasn't been in meta for a while. And Diana hasn't been in meta for a while. So, like, again, itemization is just there's a lot of items that are just kind of sitting there.
Well, the thing with, like, Nashor's Tooth and stuff is that when you have, like, Nashor's Tooth benefits those, like, on-hit AP champions, like Diana, Azir. But you can't, like, that's always been, like, a fickle thing. By the way, someone's echoing.
Someone's echoing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's Freddy.
Yeah.
Do you hear it?
I hear it.
Yeah. I think it's over now. Yeah, it's over. That's weird.
It's okay though.
Yeah, but the thing with like those like AP attack champions is that like you can get a lot more AP than you can get AD. Like there's a reason why you can, other than Jhin, you can get like only about like 300 to 480 if you're trying in a game, because you can't be hitting someone for that hard. But then you have like Azir and Diana who can build AP, and it's not uncommon to have an AP champion have like 600 AP.
Yeah.
So you can't, like, that's why Nashor's Tooth. The thing with League is that, like, again, like going on to like Dota 2, is that like almost every item in Dota 2 has an active. So they're not like stat sticks like we have a lot in League. And when you do add actives, like again, we saw like Stoneplate get added, and then like Redemption, and like when you get added items like that have these really strong actives, the thing is there's not that many strong actives in the game. I think like for the longest time it was like Zonya's was the best one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when you have stuff like that, like of course when you add active items, they're going to be a lot good because there's not that many of them. I think League just needs to add more items.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Okay.
That's also a good way of balancing champions too. Is if you can just build an item that like helps you deal with it. I mean, that, again, I have a lot of friends who play Dota, and that's like a big part of the balance. There is that you have items that like you affect the meta more by changing an item than you do than changing the champion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The thing about Dota though is that like all the items are like, I don't know, they do a lot, but at the same time they're just kind of like the way, like, I like League's itemization, but like again, they need to add more items, but at the same point they don't need to like add them the way Dota does, because Dota has like 6 times more actives, and if you have a lot of actives in League, I feel like it would just kill the game. Like too many actives to take care of and whatnot, since there's already so much happening in the game, and I kind of like this game just because it's more like, I don't know, simple.
Yeah, but that is like a solution to like the lack of itemization. It's just like, again, you just gotta come out with more items that are unique.
Yes, actually, you're about to say something.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I was just gonna say about like itemization in general. Like in any game, itemization is gonna change the meta more than champions, because there's always gonna be a champion. Like there's categories of champions, and League's done a decent job of categorizing them.
Mm-hmm.
Like control mages, burst mages, juggernauts, assassins,
Marksman,
bots. Then you have marksman, kiting marksman, late game marksman, early game, team fighting marksman, things like that. And if you nerf a champion, there's always gonna be a champion that takes their spot in like the meta.
For sure.
So it is about the items and how those work around the meta. But also I think in League, if you define some of the roles a little better in champions, because like in top lane you have your fighters, like your bruiser fighters, your tanks, and then your like you have your squishy fighters, your bruiser fighters, and then your tanks. And so you have like 3 roles that kind of like balance each other out, and they each counter each other in like a triangle. In mid lane, you have your assassins, and then you have your mages. You have burst and artillery mages / control mages there, but you don't have anything, because as soon as you bring assassins into mid lane, you just play tanks.
Yeah.
And then, but there aren't like any mage tanks besides Galio, and Galio can be a problem because he's the only champion that does what he does. So I think if they add more champions that kind of fit into that category, then you can do stuff with it. But also there's a lack of AP itemization, and the reason for that is because you have champions like Cassiopeia and Azir and Ryze that are these machine gun mages, and then you also have burst mages, and they both scale off of AP, and with that you can make a machine gun mage a burst mage while still putting out tons of damage, and that's a problem. But you can't nerf the big items, because then burst mages can't do anything. And so there's that balance of AP, and then there's not a lot of MR itemization. They've done better with it in recent patches, especially this season.
With the adaptive max, the adaptive helm, and the abyssal mask.
Yeah, and how they've actually, because before, like if you were a long range burst mage like Lux, the only item you could get that would give you MR was Abyssal, and it did nothing for you. Like, the stats did nothing for you, you just got it for the MR. You either got Abyssal or Zanyas to fight against an AP mage, and it just felt really bad getting it. And so they need to work on it. They've done, like, Banshees now, which is a step in the right direction, but they need to keep taking those steps. And I think that the itemization that Riot is doing is good. They just need to keep doing that. And I think that we need to be patient and give them time to find the right ways to go about that.
Mm-hmm. And the thing too is that with the new change, did you guys see the video? Like the new mastery and rune changes that are going to happen. Like, it's insane. Like, there's like the one where, like, when you kill a ward, it replaces it with your own ward. I saw like some kind of shielding mechanic. Like, they're adding a lot in this next off season.
Yeah, so, preseason is going to change so much.
It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for, like, everybody to freak out as soon as it hits, because runes are changing, which is, I think the rune changes is actually, the idea of it is good. The implementation, I think it's okay. But then all the gameplay things, like, I just hope they're not trying to change too much at once.
Yeah,
might be an issue.
Like, a lot of times, like, sorry.
No, go ahead, man.
Yeah, a lot of times, like, for instance, when they introduced, like, keystones, like, I remember at first it was like, oh man, this is pretty good. It's bringing back, like, a lot of the champions that hadn't been there before. Like, I remember I was seeing a lot more Akali's, because Akali's were like, yeah, I can use Thunderlords and, like, you know, Poppy and stuff. Because Thunderlords was really strong at first. But, like, again, with all these, like, early season changes, like, the preseason is just, like, it's, like, feeling out, like, a bunch of, like, bullshit, in my opinion. Like, basically, Riot's like, hey, here's a game, kind of have some fun with it. We'll determine, like, what's too broken, what's too, like, whatever. So, like, we're basically the play testers before it actually gets out. So
I think that's the fun part and the annoying part of preseason, because have, like, you have that, and then I also remember when Thunderlords was, like, at its, like, really strong point, I would have Renekton walk up to me with his W activated and then proc me for, like, 60% of my health.
I remember when every single person took Thunderlords, no matter what role they were.
Yeah, because Thunderlords is just, like, the best piece
like,
of the technique.
I remember when, like, 80, like, you'd take, like, a bot lane Caitlyn, and they would have Thunderlords, and you're like, what? That doesn't even make sense.
I remember I had one of my friends was telling me, instead of, like, wind speakers, they were like, dude, Thunderlord's not me, let's go. I was like, shut the fuck up. Like,
yeah, but it was just, I mean, I know that that's inevitable, and as soon as they come out with preseason, like, there are going to be rune pages that are just broken, and if you don't run those on every champion, then you're just doing it wrong, or you're not optimizing well. But hopefully they change them and balance it out to, because I think Masters right now are at a decent state.
I can agree with that. Like, you see almost everyone be used at some point. Like, you got your passive supports using wind speakers. You got some mages using Storm Raiders. Thunderlords being used on most control mages. And then you got, I think, Deathfire probably on the Ferocity side, the one that's least used, where Warlords and Fervor both being used pretty actively. And then I think the Bond of Stone, even when its rework, is also underused. But you still have like 2 of 3 keystones.
Yeah, I mean,
Bond of Stone is no. You go.
Okay, Bond of Stone was so. I remember. It wasn't that long ago. It was probably like a month or 2 ago when there would be Trundle bot lane running Bond of Stone, and it's just like, because it procs Ardent Sensor.
Yeah.
And so you'd have a Trundle because because whatever, if you slow or stun a champion, if one of your teammates attacks them, they get health back. And so it's a healing buff, and so it procs Ardent Sensor. So you run Trundle bot lane to deal with tanks, and buy Ardent Sensor first item, and you just destroy their team.
Well, that's
Ardent Sensor Trundle.
Same thing with Braum.
Yeah, you do like there's Braum, Taric, Trundle running Ardent Sensor, Bond of Stone. It's like, what is this? Why is this happening? And I think Bond of Stone doesn't have its place, because I remember I played Cho'Gath jungle and you read Bond of Stone. Maokai jungle, sometimes you still do it. Maokai, if you want to be more of a supporting than a frontliner. And to talk about Deathfire Touch, you do run that on like Kassadin, and I think you run it on like Jhin sometimes and Kassadin, but that also changes with the meta and what's popular at the time. So yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's, I don't know. The Keystones will. I just feel like everyone always talks about like perfect balance, and I just feel like that's an impossible goal. And I feel like with Keystones, we're kind of at a really good state with that. Again, as I said, like pretty much in every tree you have at least 2 to 3 being used pretty actively by way your cord.
Yeah.
So I think again those are pretty good. We're going to see the runes will probably be a mess when they first come out. But that's to be expected. Any other changes that you guys think need to happen? Like I know we got like the super tanks top lane that could get worked on. I mean, always control mages could maybe be worked on because they're very dominant.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about the support meta right now, right? Like
yeah,
I feel like
Arden.
it's getting pretty stale really quickly. Like,
but that'll be like Arden's definitely like the reason why they didn't nerf Arden is like you can't nerf Arden's defining the meta right now, and you can't nerf that before Worlds because you're not like a month isn't going to give teams enough time to get ready for Worlds with the new meta.
Yeah,
I mean, we saw it during.
Wait, you finished.
I was going to say we saw it during. I forget there's a big tournament where we saw that like. Yeah, I think was it MSI this year where like
I think it was last year MSI.
Yeah, where they like the first week of games was completely different than the last week because like the meta like completely shifted because teams were figuring out more stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it was last year at MSI because they dropped Aurelion Soul and a new patch for MSI like I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks before MSI.
Yeah.
And so people are figuring out the meta as they went into MSI.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and then last year Worlds we had the MF support come out too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but yeah, that was
mainly just to handle
counter pit to Xayah.
But again, that's like people figuring out the meta and like figuring out new picks.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was first pick and everyone thought I was a troll pick.
Dude. I hated the week right after that, though, when everybody played MF support.
I hated the day right after that.
Yeah, it was like it's a specific count, guys.
Yeah, I got an MF support in the first game I played after that was picked.
That's
amazing.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was too. But any more comments that you guys would like to see changes?
I can't think of any things that I want to see changed specifically. Yeah. There are, I think there's, if I remember correctly, there's at least 5 champions that are getting half reworked going into the preseason.
Mm-hmm.
Vayne, Azir, Jhin, Ev, and I think I can't think, but I know there are others.
Wait, did you say Jhin?
Vayne. And Jhin Zhao.
Oh, Xin Zhao.
Xin Zhao.
I said the in, and I was like, did you say Jhin? Don't change my Jhin. Jin's a hella fun to play.
No. Is that how you pronounce it? Because everyone says Zen.
I don't know. I just say whatever. I think I change it depending on, like, every other day I change it, and just...
You might be offensive, like...
offending the Chinese people?
Yeah. Is it Chinese, even? Like,
yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Could be Korean, who knows?
No, I'm pretty sure it's Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao. Because ZH is a J sound in Chinese.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
I believe. I'm probably going to get yelled at for saying that. But
yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I'm ignorant.
Yeah.
I'm an American.
No, so... I mean, there's just going to be a ton of changes with the reworks, and then the preseason drop with the new runes, and then you're going to have random picks coming out as soon as all the reworks happen, because Azir is going to be... I've heard Azir is going to be pretty broken when it comes back out again.
Oh yeah, probably.
But, yeah.
The Emperor has to be broken.
Okay.
What was that? What about you, Sizzle? thing you would like to see change or talk about getting changed?
I'm a huge support man, so I just want to see Spellthieves be like a thing on some of these sports again, because
And I'd rather not,
like
because I hate having to hide my ass down bottom and hide behind my Doran shield.
I think as support, because this is one of those times where a lot of people are trying to figure out if a support can carry and whatnot, and having spell thieves and stuff. It was just a really nice, when it was strong and whatnot. It was just a really nice way to kind of put your impact on the game. But now you have Ardent Center. You basically have to not die, and you have to get Ardent Center on as much people as possible. It's just I don't know. It's frustrating. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of like a meta slave right now because I've been playing a lot of Sonya. And I've been winning with her just because you use Ardent Center, you shield your whole entire team. Everyone has it. Nobody's dying, but I'm not a fan.
My club president would be very appreciative of that comment because she says Sona's free low.
She is. She actually is. Wait, let me actually look up my KDA on her right now. It's busted.
Yeah. But,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we touched on the two topics that need to get changed. Ardent's definitely getting changed, so you can be guaranteed the support meta is going to change. And then I think it'd be pretty weird for them not to. They tend to touch jungle every season.
Yeah.
So I'd be very surprised, especially in this one, with a lot of complaints about how it's very hard to get ahead in the jungle for it not to get touched.
I think they're gonna. They have to do something with jungle XP. What they do is they might do something with runes in jungle XP. Actually, that would be interesting if they
that would be hella interesting. Because you need to make it so you need some sort of investment to access that XP.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, as you said, laners will just run into the jungle, get their XP, and then you kind of have your sad jungler.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm interested to see what they do and what comes out of it, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alright, you guys have any last remarks? Otherwise, I think we will get this going to a close.
Well, for me, I just can't wait until UT faces DCU, because I know there's a lot of bad blood between the two sides. So I'm just really excited for whenever that game happens.
We can actually see when that game is. Hang on. So,
yeah, we actually need to stream that.
I don't think it's getting streamed.
We need to.
Can I?
That's week 8.
That's week 8.
That needs to be streamed because because you guys' mid laner was formerly our president.
Yeah, I know.
There's just a lot of stuff there that just needs to just come out. And I'm pretty sure all chat will be so BM. It kind of needs to happen.
But I don't think that game's getting streamed. I think
it's not. It's not. I just thought the schedule was not. Fuck. I don't know. Anyway.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Alright, so looking forward to the VT versus VCU game. What about EZX? Anything last you'd like to say?
I can't think of anything. I think we covered everything that.
Alright, well, I think we did good. Good, almost 2 hours of talking for us. And I think we did everything we accomplished. So, if you guys are listening, I hope you guys tune in the next 2 weeks. Hopefully next time we will have face cams and have an overlay, maybe get that way. No promises, because I still have to go figure out how to do that. Name will probably also be established back then. I still don't know what we're going to call this podcast, because I'm terribly uncreative with names, so I think we might be just putting that out to the community to come up with names. But again, I forgot. I've become a prime man at this. So, selling out. If you guys would ever like to see, because I cast all sorts of random things, and I will sometimes tweet them out on my Twitter at twitter.com/secure_Hades. These two lovely men who've been talking to me for the past 2 hours. How could if you guys have any sort of social media that you want people to follow you on? What about do you have any of that?
I don't know, man. Social media is cancer.
Hey, man, I'm giving you the opportunity.
Yeah. I guess my Twitch, sometimes I stream, so twitch.tv at SizzleKid20. And I mean, yeah, that's really about it.
All right, and what about you, Zex?
Okay. I can't think of anything really. The only thing that I would really do is if you wanted me to analyze any games of your personal games or any games that you wanted info on, I would be available for hire if you wanted to DM me on Discord or anything like that, or even in-game League of Legends. Username is Zexter0613. I'd be up for doing that if you all wanted any help with that, or hire me for analyzing games or matches.
All right. And with that ado, I think that will be the end of our first podcast, and I hope to see you guys again in 2 weeks.